Hello and good afternoon, friends. Welcome to CEC Live Lectures. Dear friends, today in this session we are going to talk on one of the most interesting topics. Dear friends, our topic of discussion is Trump-Afghan policy and strategic realignment in South Asia. And for this discussion, we have once again with us in our studios Professor Sanjay Bharadwaj. Professor Sanjay Bharadwaj is from Center for South Asian Studies, JNU. Dear friends, if you want to ask questions from Professor Sanjay Bharadwaj, then you can call right in the studio. Through our toll-free number, you can ask questions from Professor Sanjay Bharadwaj. Our toll-free number is 1800-110-430. I repeat, our number is 1800-110-430. Friends, you are requested to call in the last 10 minutes of the lecture so that the lecture goes uninterrupted and your queries are also resolved. So, listen to the lecture carefully, and yes, of course, afterwards you can ask questions. But before that, we would like to welcome our guest, Professor Sanjay Bharadwaj, once again. Hello, sir. Welcome to the lecture.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Today, I'm going to discuss about Trump's Afghan policy and strategic realignment in South Asia. You know, terrorism had been widely discussed among the policymakers, think tanks, even the common people had been talking about the terrorism, terrorist act, terrorist outfits, not only in India, in South Asia, but worldwide. And the most important aspects that had been further discussed and had become the discourse among the policymakers, particularly when we are looking about South Asia and when we are talking about Pakistan and Afghanistan, then the Americans' policy regarding Pakistan and Afghanistan, particularly after 9/11. So today we are going to discuss this aspect. Basically, there had been constant policy of America towards the South Asia. If you are looking from 1947 onward, and that the terminology South Asia had also been given by the American State Department for their policy making. So after that, that the word South Asia had been widely used during the 1971 war. But it had been witnessed that the Americans were much interested having realigned with the Pakistan because of its geostrategic locations and because of the geostrategic interest to contain the former USSR. But what this region again had become very important when the Twin Tower attack had been taken place, and the origin of this the terrorist outfit Al Qaeda had been found in Afghanistan, and the linkages with the South Asian states. So after that, the Pakistan and Afghanistan had become a very important country for American policy making. But recently we have seen that last week the President Donald Trump, American President Donald Trump, had come out with a policy. There is a shift. You can say the shift can be witnessed from the previous president's Obama's policy regarding Afghanistan and Pakistan. It was our Pak policy. Where is the shift we will discuss today, and what was the policies and how now Americans are looking Afghanistan and Pakistan in context of war on terror and in context of fighting against the terrorist outfit. The American President Donald Trump had announced in his speech at Fort Meade at Arlington, Virginia, that the U.S. would expand its presence in Afghanistan. It is something different what the American President Donald was talking during his election campaign, that he was more in mood to withdraw the American forces from Afghanistan. But this was a statement that surprised many who were just reading, but the close policy think tank, and they were, I think, aware about the Trump's American policy that they are not going to withdraw shortly. He said in his speech that America's enemy must never know our plans and believe they can wait us out. I will not say when we are going to attack, but attack we will, said the Trump before a crowd of US troops. So you can see that the clear-cut policy that they are not going to withdraw from Afghanistan very soon, and they are in fact in mood to expand its presence militarily and strategically in this region. While he admitted he previously favored withdrawal, as I said, the Trump said doing so would dishonor the US troops who died in Afghanistan and could create a vacuum that would allow terrorist network to expand. So you can see that by his new Afghan new Afghan policy, or Trump's Afghan policy, he is very clear about his objective that he is going to stay more in Afghanistan, and that this time it would be a more calculated, more specific attempt to go against terrorism. If you are, what is the reasons? Why? What are the possible causative factors of Trump's Afghan policy? That is the primary question arises, that why Trump's administration had decided or is thinking to stay more and to have more calculated approach in case of South Asia. I think what the first development is taking place, that there is a mounting strategic realignment in the region that is taking place in South Asia, particularly increasing China-Pakistan geo-economic and geo-strategic engagement that I will discuss in detail in the second part of my lecture. And also it has also been seen that the other major powers like Russia, and they are also having military and strategic collaborations and operations in this region. There were joint exercise with Pakistan and all that. So it is witnessed, it has been noticed by the Trump administrations that the South Asian region or Pakistan is having developing more closer relations, strategic relations with China, and is not basically following or doing what the Americans wanting. The second factor is that there are substantial evidence of state-sponsored terrorism in South Asia. It has been witnessed that with the advancement in the technology and communication, terrorism has become one of the gravest threat to international peace and security. According to the Global Terrorist Index, by 2014, by the Institute for Economic and Peace, since 2000, there has been over a 5-fold increase in the number of deaths from the terrorist attacks, and rising from 3,336 to in 2013 it was 17,958. So you can see there is a 5-fold increase of the death by the terrorist attack worldwide. And also it has also been noticed the cost of war on terror has substantially increased, and the terror operatives are still active with the same pace and technology. This has worried the Trump administration, that the terrorism where Americans are spending billions of dollars, that you can see in last 16 years the Americans had given more than $30 billion to fight against the terrorist outfits and terrorism in this region, and that Pakistan is the recipient of that aid, but the results are not that much. Thus, the Trump's decision comes as Taliban militants have been resurgent in recent months, posting a series of recent gains against Afghan government forces, which are backed by U.S. coalition of NATO allies. So, this is the first region that increasing terrorist activities and their footholds in Afghanistan had worried somehow the Trump administrations. But what is more concrete, what is more substantial is that in July 2017, Secretary of Defense James Mattis informed Congress the U.S. was withholding $50 million in funding from Pakistan because he was unable to clarify that Islamabad had taken sufficient action against the Haqqani network, a branch of Afghan Taliban. So this was clearly discussed in the American Congress, and there it has been said that they are not satisfied with the progress by the Islamabad. Second, that U.S. officials believe that much of the Haqqani leadership is based in Pakistan, and some analysts believe eliminating their safe havens is critical to stabilizing Afghanistan. This was more evident when General Nicholson, head of the American troop to Afghanistan, had clearly indicated the Afghan Taliban's operatives' presence in Quetta and Peshawar. So the Trump seems to reference this is his speech on last week, saying that Pakistan has much to gain from partnering with our efforts in Afghanistan and much to lose from harboring criminals and terrorists. So it is very much clear that the State Department, the U.S. Congress, the head of the American troops in Afghanistan, they have clearly indicated that the Haqqani networks and the Afghan Talibanis, they are having a safe haven. They are having their presence in Quetta, in Peshawar, and by their statements and by their speech, that Trump has come out that Pakistan has much to gain partnering with America, and they are much to lose when the Pakistan is harboring criminals and terrorists. So you can see the background of the Trump's Afghan policy, that how he has come out with the policy. I will discuss the part that what are the components of the Trump's Afghan policy. Before that, let me discuss the background of the terrorism in Afghanistan, in Pakistan, and U.S. war on terror. That I will discuss. When one talk about terrorism in South Asia, the country that catches the attention is Pakistan. During General Zia's regime, Pakistan, with the U.S. support, saw involvement in the Soviet-Afghan War, particularly after 1971, which led to a greater influx of ideologically driven Muslims, popularly known as Mujahideen, to the tribal areas, and increased availability of arms and drugs from the Golden Crescent. This brought into Pakistan a more codified and strict Wahhabi Islam from Saudi Arabia, and that is the contestation that Wahhabi Islam or Hanbali Islams with Hanafi Islam, and that has led to the Islamic fundamentalism and extremism that talks about the Shariat rule, that talks about the Quranic rule in Afghanistan and other parts of in Pakistan, other parts of South Asia. The state and its inter-service intelligence ISI encouraged the Mujahideen to fight a proxy war in Afghanistan. Most of the Mujahideens were never disarmed after the war. After the war ended, or you can say when the Cold War ended in 1990 after the collapse of USSR, and we can see that these groups were later activated at the behest of Pakistan in the form of Lashkar-e-Taiba, Harkatul Mujahideen, and others like Tehrik-e-Taliban in Pakistan itself, and you can say Afghan Taliban and Haqqani networks in Afghanistan. And these are the groups now. They are posing a threat to Americans, to the South Asian security, and you can say that the much of the money has been spent to fight against these terrorist outfits in Afghanistan and in Pakistan. However, this was first realized by the US with the watershed event in the history of terrorism, as I talked, where the terrorist attack launched by the Islamist terror group Al-Qaeda in New York and Washington, where more than 3,000 people were killed in 11 September 2001. And this was also witnessed, this terror attack were having more religious inspired or politically motivated objectives to carry on this strike. So after that, the Americans had realized the pain of terror and terrorism in South Asia or other part of the world, and from there they had basically made or you can say that Pakistan was designated as a US non-NATO ally by the then President George Bush in 2004 in recognition for Islamabad's contribution to the anti-Al-Qaeda fight. But relations between Washington and Islamabad have long been strained over Afghanistan because of the different types of strategic and security interests, and or you can say different type of political motivations or calculations that Pakistan was more having a different policy or thinking in relations to Afghanistan, where the Americans were very focused. They wanted to defeat the Talibanis from or Haqqani networks from Afghanistan, where Pakistan had been very calculative, very particular in supporting this war on terror. In 2009, President Barack Obama announced a comprehensive new strategy for Afghan and Pakistan that is popularly known as APAC policy. You must have heard about this APAC policy, and in this APAC policy, it was said that the future of Afghanistan is inextricably linked to the future of its neighbor, and this is true. Basically, if you are looking in case of South Asia, that the peace and security of India depends on its neighbor in eastern side and in the western side. If the western neighbors are unstable and harboring terrorist and extremist groups, then you cannot ensure that there are the security and peace in the region. So in the same manner, I think the president, then President Barack Obama, had come out with the APAC policy, and where they have linked the future of Afghanistan with Pakistan. And Obama said, calling on Islamabad to demonstrate its commitment to rooting out Al-Qaeda and violent extremists within its border. That was the demand, basically, that Americans wanted or supports Americans wanted from Pakistan, and this was the reason that they have linked Afghanistan with Pakistan, and they had come out with the APAC policy. 8 years later, from 2009 to 2017, however, little has changed. A report earlier this year by the conservative Hudson Institute found that Pakistan never changed its policy of supporting certain militant groups that fight Afghan and coalition forces, thus making it impossible for the United States to achieve its objective of keeping Afghanistan from reverting to a safe haven of international terrorism. So it is very much clear by this Hudson Institute's report that basically pointing out that the states, the coalition partners, having different objectives and different strategies when they are fighting with the Americans in Afghanistan. Al-Qaeda leader and 9/11 attack planner Osama bin Laden was hiding out in Pakistan when he was assassinated by the US soldier in 2011. So it is very much clear, visible that the leader of the Al-Qaeda, Osama bin Laden, was hiding in Pakistan, and that has been raided by the American forces and killed him by the drone attacks. And this has basically, you can say, the White House did not inform Islamabad about the raid until it was over, embarrassing the country's military and raising questions over the two nations' security relationships. So that has exposed Pakistan when they have gone for the strike against the terrorist Osama bin Laden, and it was killed. So and they did not share the information with Pakistan, and it was a successful attempt by the Americans that but it had strained the relationship between Pakistan and America on this issue. It is also well-known facts that Pakistan, they are not just supporting to Taliban, Afghan Talibanis or Haqqani networks, but they are also operating their militant organizations like Lashkar-e-Taiba, Jaish-e-Mohammed. They are also operating with the support of Pakistan's intelligence agency, ISI, and military. They are taking in Indian states, and we have seen that many crucial, very you can say attacks were taken place on Indian Parliament and in Mumbai, where number of civilians and the armed forces people were killed. And this was raised again and again by India on international forums, on regional forums, that the Pakistan is supporting or sponsoring terrorism in India. So, like for the example, the major attack took place in 2008 in Mumbai, where Azmal Kasab, the only attackers who was captured alive, later confessed upon interrogation that the attacks were conducted with the support of Pakistan government intelligence agency, the ISI and the other institutions of Pakistan. The attackers were members of Lashkar-e-Taiba, among others. Additionally, the recent incident, the attacks on BSF convoy in Udhampur in 2015 led to capture one of the two terrorists alive, Mohammad Nawed, who is a Pakistan citizen, and this was also well identified that Pakistan is also sponsoring terrorist activities, terrorism in Indian state. So you can see that the background of Pakistan, that Pakistan constantly had been supporting the terrorist outfits, terrorism, or Talibanis or Haqqani networks in Afghanistan and in Indian states of in Jammu and Kashmir, or you can say the other parts of India, that they are sponsoring, because they have different political objectives, ideological objectives, and they are using the religious inspired youth for their operations. So you can see that what type of Pakistan state, as I have said, it is a dysfunctional state where democracy had not been properly institutionalized in Pakistan, and where army and the intelligence agencies had enjoyed the privilege in case of their policy regarding Kashmir or India and Afghanistan. So this is the first part. I talked about the background of the Trump's new Afghan policy. Now the second part, I will discuss about the components of Trump's Afghan policy in my lecture. Okay, so I was discussing about the background of Trump's Afghan policy, where I have talked that what was the background, why that the Trump administration has come out with the you can say that new Afghan policy, and it is somehow different from the Obama's Pak policy. अगर इसको आप बिल्कुल स्पष्ट रूप में देखते हैं तो बेसिकली तीन बातें अलग दिखाई देती है जो आपाक पॉलिसी से और ओबामा की पॉलिसी से। पहली बात यह है कि इस बार ट्रंप एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन ने एक स्ट्रॉन्ग वार्निंग दिया है और बिल्कुल हार्श वर्ड में वार्निंग दिया है। ट्रंप एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन अफगान पॉलिसी में बिल्कुल क्लैरिटी के साथ और बिल्कुल स्ट्रॉन्ग वर्ड्स के साथ में ये कहा है कि अमेरिका no longer be silent about Pakistan's safe haven of terrorist organizations. So they have clearly indicated that there are evidences of Talibanis and Haqqani networks' presence in Pakistan, and Americans will no longer be silent on this issue. Second thing, they have also Trump had also very clearly said that we have spent billions of dollars to fight against terrorism. As I said, that Americans had given Pakistan more than $30 billion under the Coalition Support Fund. That is about 60% of total grant aid had been given to Pakistan from 2001 to 2016. $30 billion had been given to fight against the terrorism or for war on terror. So Pakistan had come out in very harsh word Americans had come out with very harsh word, very clarity that they are not going to tolerate in future if Pakistan will remain a safe haven for the terrorist activities. Second aspect of Trump's Afghan policy that US has decided not to share its strategic or plan to Pakistan. I think they are going to adopt the policy what they had they did in 2011 when they have attacked on Osama bin Laden, and they have killed Osama bin Laden by drone attack. Trump said, "We will fight to win, and America's enemy must never know our plan or believe they can wait us out. I will not say when we are going to attack, but attack we will." It's a very clear cut indications that we are not going to share any policy strategies, that when we are going to withdraw, when we are going to strike, and what we are going to do in Pakistan and in Afghanistan. So this is the second shift, that earlier they were sharing all the informations with Pakistan. Now they are not going to share any information with Pakistan regarding their war on terror, and also they will also look out in Pakistan if there is any Haqqani or Talibani operatives in Quetta or in Peshawar. The third major shift in the policy, Afghan policy, had come out where Americans were always hesitant because regarding India. India always wanted to have more role in Afghanistan, or in case of rebuilding or you can say infrastructural development and institutionalizing the institutions, as well as to fight against the terrorism that India always wanted, but Americans were never given a clear support of India's much involvement in Afghanistan. But there is a shift now that Trump has called India to help us more with Afghanistan, especially in the areas of economic assistance and development. We appreciate India's important contribution to stability in Afghanistan, but India makes that he also in a very business term he has said that India makes makes billions of dollars in trade from United States. So India should spend this with Americans in Afghanistan. So basically, it has come out very clearly that Americans are interested to increase India's role in Afghan affairs. So these are the three policy shifts that we can see in Trump's Afghan policy. What it was not in the previous administrations, particularly Obama administration, were little secretive, or you can say were taking Pakistan into conflict, or you can say that the previous administrators were giving priority to Pakistan on Afghan affairs instead of India. Now there is a shift in its approach. Now we have to assess the weight to this new approach. What actually this has also been discussed and had been remained a discourse among the think tanks and policy makers that Pakistan had always been involved in promoting terrorist outrage and terrorism, and Americans had many times warned Pakistan regarding that. But what they are going to do when Americans are taking a tough line on Pakistan? So this is the first thing. It has come out, and as you can say, one of the analysts, Hassan Askar Rizvi, said that it just appeared to be more categorically and clearer than previous administration and nothing else. That they had come out with more clarity this time, and they are very particular about their approach this time. Otherwise, it is not different. He is a Pakistani analyst. But however, what the president will do to ensure Pakistan does change its behavior is unclear. What they will do. This has been said by Kagelman in his writings, and he said that tactics could include cutting aid and curtailing military assistance to Pakistan. He assessed that maybe in the tactic they will cut the aid to Pakistan, particularly the military and economic aid to Pakistan. That could be one of the measures that they can. A review of whether Pakistan should be considered a state sponsor of terrorism. A draconian measures should not be ruled out if conditions does not improve. This has come out from Brookings Institution Pakistan analyst Bruce Riddell has talked that Americans can take the draconian measures to ensure the implementations of its policy or its drive against the terrorism in Pakistan. So my understanding is that the American that they had come out with very harsh wordings, but I think that what the policies they will continue, that they will continue with the stick and carrot policy, where they will give the aid and assistance, and they will also warn Pakistan time and again, and may withhold their aid and assistance to Pakistan if it is not delivering, if it is not supporting to Americans against their war on terror. So this is the things. What are the approach? In fact, if you are looking, understanding what is the Pakistan's approach about Afghanistan and on war on terror. Basically, if you are analyzing very clearly that Pakistan has different strategic objectives in Afghanistan. What is the different strategic objectives in Afghanistan? That they do not want any increasing role of India in Afghanistan. That is the first policy objective, that they are very clear that India's role cannot be enhanced, increased in Afghanistan. That is against their political calculations, ideological calculations. So they are not going to bear if India's role will be increased in, and that they are doing in past also. The second point is very clear. In fact, Pakistan has Pakistan has been very particular. The different stakeholders or the institutions in Pakistan had been very particular about their Afghanistan and Kashmir policy. That they are not giving, particularly the army and the ISI, they are not giving the age to decide the Afghan and India policy to the elected political leaders. They themselves are deciding, and in that what tactics they are using tactics they are using, that they are moreover they are believing in proxy war. They are supporting to the terrorist outfits, and it has been clearly evident in case of Nicholson's statement that the Haqqani and the Talibanese network, Talibanis are very much in Quetta, and in Peshawar. And the same manner that it has also been given many times evident by the Indian government in case of Pathankot, in case of Mumbai, in case of Uri, that the Pakistan-sponsored terrorist outfits are very much there in these terrorist strike, and they are there. And this is the reason that India had gone for the surgical strike on Pakistan occupied Kashmir areas. So you can see that what the Pakistan's approach is, that the Pakistan, because there is an understanding about the middle level officers of Pakistan army, that you cannot fight India straight, because there is systematic asymmetry in the size of military and in the size of economy. So you cannot win India directly fighting. So they are more believing in proxy war, and they are more believing in low intensity war or supporting terrorism and destabilizing the Indian states, and that they are doing. So this is their approach, and the same manner they are keeping very calculated efforts, that one side they are supporting to the Americans on their drive on against terrorism, and other sides they are also maintaining very close ties with the Haqqani network and Afghan Talibanis. They are supporting them, so their hold in Afghanistan can remain, because for Pakistan, Afghanistan is also very important strategically and economically, because of the natural resources, because of the access to the Central Asian countries. So this is the Pakistan's approach, and Pakistan will never allow India to have more role in Afghanistan. Second, there are also reactions from Pakistan. In response to Trump's place, the Taliban issued a defiant statement saying the US should have thought about withdrawing its troops from Afghanistan instead of prolonging the war. It looks like the US still does not want to put an end to its longest war. Instead of understanding the facts and realities, Trump still shows pride for his power and military forces. The statement said vowing Taliban's forces would keep fighting to free Afghanistan of American invaders. This is the reactions from the Talibanis, but there are also reactions from within Pakistan. Particularly the Amir of Jamaatul Islamiyah said that Pakistan will continue to be a safe haven for Taliban and Haqqani networks in future as well. Moreover, and there are moreover consensus on the different Hukmrans of Pakistan on these issues, that they are not going to stop their collaborations, their linkages with Haqqani network and with the Afghan Talibanis. Pakistan's role in fomenting cross-border terrorism by providing sanctuaries, material support, weaponry to Taliban and its associates, Haqqani network terrorists, has remained a major source of threat to American interest in Afghanistan and of course Indian state interest in terrorism. So these are the reactions. You can see that the Pakistanis they are not taking Trump's harsh word of warning very seriously. They are determined to do whatever in their best in their strategic calculations and their interest. Of course, there are very positive response from Afghanistan. Afghan President Ghani welcomed Trump's statement and his affirmation of support for our efforts to achieve self-reliance and for our joint struggle to rid the region from the threat of terrorism. It appreciated. The US-Afghan partnership is stronger than ever in overcoming the threat of terrorism that threatened us all, Ghani said in a statement Tuesday, adding to the objective of peace is paramount. What is the Chinese ambitious projects. And what is happening with basically that now Pakistan is enjoying better geostrategic and geoeconomic relations with China. And China is having ambitious projects of like One Belt, One Road, New Silk Road, or China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, where China is investing about $46 billion in building Gwadar port. And you can see that this kind of ambitious projects, and in these ambitious projects, Pakistan has become very significant factor in completing the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor in one hand, and in Afghanistan, when you are looking that Wakhan corridor had been very important, very significant for Chinese New Silk Road policy, because it has this Wakhan corridor had become a part of Great Game 1, and now it is also becoming significant for Great Game 2. So the Chinese now...
Sorry to interrupt you, sir. We have a caller over here. Let's ask the question. Hello.
Hello, ma'am. My name is Pawan. I am calling from Varanasi.
Yes.
I have a question. Can I ask?
Yes, Pawan. Please ask your question.
Yes, sir. What is the role of India in geopolitical relation with Afghanistan, and how Trump analyzes this scenario, and what reward India does get from it?
Pawan wants to ask what the geopolitical relationship does it has with Afghanistan.
Afghanistan is very important, very significant for India's geostrategic calculations. First thing that we are emerging economy, and our economic growth is about 6 to 7%, or now it has crossed more than 7%. So we are developing on very fast rate. I think one of the fastest growing economy in the world. Now we are looking have better cooperations, particularly to ensure the energy supply. And for the energy supply, we have energy rich regions or countries like Iran, like Central Asian countries, Turkmenistan, Kyrgyzstan, all that. These countries are rich in natural gas, and there we are looking the possibilities of importing natural gas from these Central Asian countries. And in that, Afghanistan is very important, geostrategically very important, and this is the region you can say that the present Prime Minister had inaugurated and had supported the project of developing the Chaba port in Iran. So you can see that the Afghanistan's location geostrategically very important. If it would, if the Chinese and Pakistanis will have their dominance, then Indians and the Americans cannot continue in Afghanistan and in Central Asian regions, which is very important for our economic development, which is very important for our security. And what would happen? They will encourage the religious inspired terror outfits like Talibanis and Haqqani networks to do their operations not only in India but other parts of South Asia. So keeping our influence and keeping our presence in Afghanistan is very important for our geostrategic and for our geoeconomic interest. And there we are looking American supports and American alignments to counterbalance increasing Pakistan-Chinese engagement.
Thanks, dear friend. Thanks for calling us. Keep watching us and keep calling us. We believe that your question might have answered. So, sir, let's continue with the lecture as we were talking about the Chinese ambitious projects.
So it is basically that One Belt, One Road projects that is the very ambitious projects for Chinese, and they are because of this project. These projects, Afghanistan and Pakistan has become very important, and this is the region, like you can say that American had concerned that if because of the increasing strategic and economic partnership between Pakistan and China will minimize the Americans' interest and American influence in the region. So you can see that one more thing, that China is also having about more than 1 billion trade in Afghanistan. So they will also lose the market in Afghanistan in future. So Chinese has three clear-cut objectives. The economic objectives is there, the new Silk Road policy is there, and third, China-Pakistan economic corridor that would connect China to the Central Asian countries and to the European countries and to the Middle Eastern countries, and would also take the Yunnan province or you can say to the Arabian Sea. So this is the calculations. In that calculations, Pakistan has become very important, and that concerns to India and it concerns to Americans, and this is the reason that Americans had come out with a very clear-cut policy. Trump has come out very clear-cut policy that two things cannot go all together, that you can maintain close relations with the Talibanis and Haqqani networks, and other sides you can also take the aid and assistance from America on the name of fighting against terrorism. So you can see that this is the Chinese ambitious projects, and an increasing alignment had concern to that. What is India's role? India welcomed this approach. In fact, very clearly, our foreign minister Sushma Swaraj has also clearly said that we welcome and we commit ourselves to extend the maximum, enhance the maximum support to America and Afghanistan to fight against the terrorism, and we are continuously doing a lot in infrastructural developments, particularly school buildings, hospital buildings, parliament buildings, road and constructions works and all that. But I think what is the point here, that may President Ghani can ask more from India, particularly in support for military support, or you can say armed support to fight against the Haqqani networks and Talibanis in Afghanistan. So point is very much clear that Americans also are also looking a partner to share the burden, economic burden in the regions, and also to share the military burden in the regions. So India has to be prepared for that just economic assistance would not go. There could be more expectations from Afghanistan and Americans from Indian side. I think that this is an opportunity for India to increase to our presence in Afghanistan, so that we can at least ensure our long time strategic interest, and that would be a big setback to increasing Pakistan-Chinese strategic alignments. I have few points to conclude here, and then that US will never. These are my observations that I am coming out with these few points, and I think what this would going to be happen in future. First thing, this is very much clear that the US will never end the partnership with Pakistan. It would continue. It would continue as it is doing, but now US is looking more supports and more engagement with India also, because end of the partnership with Pakistan will certainly give edge to the Chinese to come with Pakistani, and that would destabilize the region. That would be that would be a wrong signal for India's and American interest in this region. Second thing, the Americans will also continue with the carrot and stick policy, that stick and carrot policy, that they will give the aid, but they will also keep the watch. That thing. Third thing, because why the Trump administration has come out with this harsh and strong policy, because Trump administration is in mood to go for more drone strike, and for that Trump administration was looking the excuse that how you can go for more drone strike in Quetta, in Peshawar, or Taliban or Afghan outfits, so that you can accelerate your fight against the terrorism, and you can strengthen, and you can make your objectives clearly. And this is the regions that the Americans are not in mood to share their strategy to Pakistan. then it comes that US intend to increase India's role in Afghanistan to counterbalance China-Pakistan alliances and also to share the burden, economic and military burden in the region. US will involve India to share US economic burden, as I said, and that is the objective. So we have to be prepared. But last very important point is that Pakistan will remain irresponsible state or will behave as usual, because Pakistan is a rogue state. Pakistan is a dysfunctional state. There is a state within a state, and you unless until you will not strengthen the democracy and democratic institution in Pakistan, that the army and the ISI, for their vested interest, they will weak the Pakistan state, Pakistan democracy, and they will fulfill their own objectives and economic and military objectives. And that would, I think, the Americans should come out with that with a clear policy to support the democratic forces in Pakistan, so that the people of Pakistan and the democratic forces can come out with a policy of supporting the war on terror. Thank you very much.
With this note, thank you, sir. Thank you so very much for giving us a vivacious session on Trump-Afghan policy and strategic realignment on South Asia. Dear friends, if you feel that you have certain set of questions which were not answered today, or you were not available to call us or unable to call us, then you can post your questions at info.cec@nic.in. Your suggestions, your feedbacks are welcome. Keep watching us, keep writing us. The lecture is going to be uploaded on YouTube soon. Thank you, sir. Thank you once again.